The Boys and Invincible are two of the most talked about shows, superhero shows, but also shows in general out right now. The Boys talked about mostly for its extremely cynical and very realistic view on what it is to live in America right now, as well as Invincible being talked about for its amazing fight scenes and, let's say, controversial storytelling. Both shows are absolutely amazing and hit the points they need to hit, with both shows putting a spotlight especially on how power corrupts and confuses. Like when Mark tells Oliver that he's going to start killing the villains that come after his family, even though he signed up to be a superhero. It's like signing up to be chased and then you're scared when you're chased. You start shooting at people. Or when Huey, one of our most innocent characters in the beginning of the show, starts killing Soups. Invincible has a extremely hopeful and bright tone to it. So where Mark has 2 murder attempts to his name, you still and is saying out loud he's about to go and try and commit more murders. You're still rooting for him, still making excuses for him. Oh, he's just a kid. Oh, he has to learn. Because by the end of the story, his arc will come full circle. He'll have learned the wrongs. He'll have overcome his insecurities and difficulties and challenges and become the hero he was always meant to be. Whereas The Boys doesn't have such a hopeful, bright tone to it. So when bad things happen or good characters, innocent characters in the beginning of the story start doing bad things, you classify them with the rest, saying, well, everybody in this show is bad. Everybody has flaws, I guess you could say. So we're going to talk about The Boys and Invincible and how both these shows are incredibly nuanced and which one does it better. We're going to talk about emotional arcs. We're going to talk about heroes and villains. We're going to talk about realism. We're going to talk about the characters and the brutality. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe, comment. I want to know all your thoughts. I want to know on which points you disagree and on which points you completely agree. So let me know what you think. Let's begin. First, we're going to talk about the realism factor. The Boys is terrifyingly real. It doesn't just ask, what if superheroes existed? It asks, how would corporations, governments, and media exploit them and us using superheroes? Vought controls the narrative like any actual media empire, spinning stories, covering up scandals, making superheroes more like celebrities and protectors. Every decision in The Boys feels like something that could actually happen in our world or has happened. Meanwhile, Invincible is still operating in a classic comic book structure. Yes, it has emotional depth, but at the end of the day, it still has an alien empire trying to conquer the universe. It has weight, but it doesn't hit as close to home as The Boys. And that's not to say that Invincible isn't a well-rounded show. And I believe that having Powerplex as one of the villains for the season helps to ground the show even more, because he is only one of thousands of people whose lives have been altered forever because of superheroes. And we have seen that before. You know what I mean? Where somebody has changed your life in such a large negative way that nothing is left but rage and more rage. And they end up taking it out on the people they love. And in his case, his son and his wife. So that, and the fact that these otherworldly white people are coming to help colonize Earth, is very realistic. But arguably, The Boys beats them in this case. So this round goes to The Boys. Next, we're going to talk about superheroes and supervillains. So I wasn't sure how I was going to do heroes and villains, because there are so many heroes and villains, but I have made a list of heroes and villains, top 10, and this is what I ranked them by: raw power, intelligence, overall threat level, and memorable character writing. And these are the lists. There will be no descriptions given, because that would make this video much longer than it needs to be, but I might make a video on these lists, or a few shorts. We'll see. First are the heroes. 10 is Duplicate. 9 is Monster Girl. 8 is Darkwing. 7 is Kamiko. 6 is Queen Maeve. 5 Rexplode. 4. Adam Eve. 3. Starlight. 2. Invincible. And number 1 is Alan. For our villains, we have at 10, The Deep. 9. Stormfront. 8. Black Noir. 7. Victoria Newman. 6. Omni-Man. 5. Soldier Boy. 4. Conquest. 3. Angstrom Levy. 2. Sister Sage. And 1 is Homelander. Comment what you would have rated these characters. And for the heroes, Invincible is the winner. For villains, the boys win this one. So we will have to split the point. Emotional impact. Every show has its backstories and sad pasts for the characters, but the biggest difference between the shows in this category is both tone and timing. The tone of Invincible can be hopeful, just as it can be brutal. The Boys doesn't get many joyful moments, so when the low moments hit, it's tough, but much more anticipated and much less sat with. When Omni-Man leaves Earth, we get to sit with Deb's pain and Mark's. When Immortal is suicidal and begging to be unalive, we get to sit with the painful explanation and Mark's guilt after deciding to end Immortal's immortality. Every time Invincible kills someone or tries to, we get to sit in that pain with him, with the exception of Conquest. The Boys is a much faster paced show, and the dark parts are common and even joked about at times. Huey's dad dying is the longest the show sits with really dealing with pain. The pain in the show is real, but it's also pushed aside for the next gory or sexual thing to happen. That's not to say that we don't sit in pain, but it's just overlooked by how many crazy things they can push in one season. And yes, The Boys has tragic moments, but it rarely gives characters time to process the way that Invincible does. And if you're looking for a superhero show with real emotional stakes, Invincible wins here. The brutality factor. Invincible is insanely violent, no doubt about it. The train scene, Conquest fight, the destruction of Chicago all showcase some of the most intense action in animation. But The Boys makes his brutality feel more personal. It's not just about bodies getting ripped apart. It's about power being used in the most horrifying ways. Take the airplane scene. Homelander and Queen Maeve could have saved those people because it wasn't convenient for Homelander. He let them die, and she went along with it. That's more than just violence. It's psychological horror. In Invincible, the violence mostly comes from battles between superpowered beings. In The Boys, the violence feels more disturbing, grounded, because it often is against people who have no choice or chance of fighting back. That makes it hit harder. Character development. Both shows have compelling characters, but The Boys takes it further. Butcher isn't just a vengeful anti-hero. He's a man being consumed by his own rage, constantly walking the line between justified revenge and outright cruelty. Homelander isn't just a standard evil Superman. He's an unstable, power-hungry narcissist who is slowly unraveling. Even the side characters in The Boys feels more developed. Frenchie, Kamiko, and MM all have complex backstories and lives that make them feel real. In contrast, Invincible has some great characters, but others feel more like standard comic book archetypes and not real people. The fight scenes. The Boys has intense, brutal fights, but Invincible completely outclasses it in terms of action. The animation allows for fast-paced, dynamic battles that just aren't possible in live action. Every fight in Invincible feels massive, whether it's Mark getting annihilated by his dad, or annihilated by Conquest, or the dragon fight that decimated the prison. The show delivers on a spectacle and in a way that The Boys simply can't. The Boys relies on tension, on brutality, but when it comes to sheer scale and impact, Invincible dominates in this category. Invincible and The Boys both succeed in different ways. If you want a brutally realistic, satirical take on superheroes and how power corrupts, The Boys is the winner. If you want a more action-packed superhero story with incredible fights and emotional depth, Invincible does it better. For me, The Boys is still the superior show because of its realism and its social relevancy. But Invincible deserves recognition for its heart and action. Which show do you think is better? Let's talk about it in the comments. Or you could join my Discord and we can actually have a conversation about it there. Let me know what you think. Please dislike this video if you enjoyed it. And I will see you next time. I'm Khadija, and this is Done Chaotically.